Okay, so this is going to be like the comic book reviews where I take the angle of giving my final thoughts on the film, then doing a big spoiler section, and then doing the trailers, okay? Okay. So, overall, I'm going to give Detective Pikachu a B. There's a lot to like about this movie. I do like the chemistry between Justice Smith and Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu, and, well, maybe something a little more. I'll get to that. But, unfortunately, some of the jokes, maybe fell a little flat. There's a lot of the jokes from the trailer in there, and those work fine, and there's some that just don't seem to work as well. And the story itself is pretty paint by numbers. There are some good points to it, but again, sometimes it just falls a little flat. Overall, I'd say the effects are good. There's a character named Lucy who's kind of shoehorned into the plot as a kind of love interest, but it doesn't really go anywhere outside of them, well, minor spoiler, outside of them getting a date at the end of the movie, and that's kind of it, unfortunately. There isn't much in the way of romantic chemistry. But, like I said, overall it's a pretty good film, and I think the kids are probably going to like this more. There was a smaller group of kids in the theater in my theater, but unfortunately I think I was expecting maybe more of a raucous, laughing crowd, and that just kind of maybe affected me a little bit in the sense that it just, didn't seem to give me much of a fulfillment. Like I said, though, it's good, it's just not great.
Jack, Jack, Jack! Slay, slay!
There's a bowl of fun inside every can of Heinz Pokemon pasta. It's your favorite Pokemon characters as fun-shaped noodles in a yummy Heinz tomato sauce. New Heinz Pokemon pasta. Can you catch them all? Can you eat them all?
Okay, so the main plot of this movie centers around Tim Goodman, who's played by Justice Smith, who, upon hearing of his father's demise, travels to Rhyme City, which is a city built by a man named Howard Clifford, and it's meant to be this haven where human and Pokemon can coexist. Like, there's not Pokemon tournaments where Pokemon fight each other, or Pokemon aren't trainers. They actually are not quite equal beings, but they're more like sort of family members, for lack of a better term. And upon his arrival in Rhyme City, Tim winds up bumping into his father's Pokemon partner, who is a Pikachu that he can somehow communicate with. Unfortunately, this Pikachu has amnesia and only knows that Tim's father, Harry Goodman, sorry. Harry Goodman was an important person because the name and address was in his Deerstalker cap. And sort of from all of this is where the greater mystery comes from. And it winds up kind of worming its way through a lot of things, and they go to the police, and the Pikachu seems to think that Harry is alive, but Tim is shown footage of this car crash that happened, and Harry was doing some sort of research involving investigating a new chemical that's a gas that seems to induce Pokemon into performing rage attacks on people. And from that, sorry, this is going to be a little all over the place, but yeah, and he was trying to get the word out, and his car crashed, and the way they said, look at the way this car crashed, there's no way anyone could have possibly survived it. But the Pikachu is asserting that there's no body. By the way, Tim is the only one who can communicate with the Pikachu. Like, everyone else just hears the Pikachu. So that's all they get. And also, the Pikachu cannot perform any of its attacks because of its amnesia. Basically, they start doing some research, and along the way they bump into a female news reporter, an intern basically, a wannabe news reporter named Lucy. Oh, I can't remember what Lucy's last name is either, unfortunately. But okay, her name is Lucy, and she also kind of lucked into this investigation, fell into this investigation because she's trying to work her way up to being a top reporter. And from all of this, they start investigating this gas, and it leads them to this research facility where it turns out Tim's father, not Howard, Harry, sorry. You have Harry and Howard in this, and it's confusing me a bit, sorry. Harry, who you don't actually see, you only see like the back of his head the whole time, and yeah, there's a reason for that. Tim's father, Harry, was doing some investigative work for this Pokemon research facility, and he was hired to bring in Mewtwo from the Kanto region. So this is like a kind of side quill to Pokemon the first movie, basically. And they're trying to research it, and they extract some Mew DNA, and that's how they manufacture the gas. And it turns out that the Cliffords own this research facility, and everyone thinks it's Roger Clifford is trying to induce Pokemon rage attacks so they can bring back the rage fighting and stuff like that. Like, there's some underground rage fighting that goes on, underground Pokemon fighting that happens as well, but other than that, it's like Pokemon are basically just part of the community. And from that, they start piecing things together. That's where they find like some genetically enhanced Greninja and some genetically enhanced, the giant tortoise Pokemon with the mountain on its back. I'm trying to think what its name is now. Torterra, that's what I'm thinking. So they find that, and they find those, and basically Roger remote controls a lot of the facility to get the Greninja to attack. As they're fleeing, Lucy's Psyduck gets a bad enough headache that it launches a confusion attack, which causes massive landslide because there are actually really, really giant Torterra in there. And basically they're trying to get back because earlier in the film, Howard, sorry, man, the names in this are really bad. Howard Clifford basically tipped them off to where a lot of this is happening. He shows Tim a holographic recreation of the crash and said, hey, look, Mewtwo was actually involved in your father's death. Mewtwo killed your father. And it wiped Pikachu's memory, so that's why Pikachu has amnesia and can't perform any of its attacks. And so that's why they go to this facility again. And as all this is happening, like Pikachu gets knocked unconscious, and they have to call upon a herd of Bulbasaur to take it to a healing Pokemon, and that healing Pokemon turns out is Mewtwo. And Mewtwo had been wanting Pikachu to bring Tim because it seemed to have something of a relationship with Harry. And basically it turns out that no, Roger Clifford is actually a good guy. The Roger Clifford we've been seeing is actually Howard Clifford's ditto. I almost said something else. Howard Clifford's ditto. See, I almost said it again. And basically, Howard is the really bad guy. I mean, it's Bill Nighy. I'm surprised it turned out that he actually was the villain the whole time. And he has been planning to, because Howard Clifford has this degenerative nerve disease. He's in a wheelchair. He wants to he found out that he found a way Mew can transfer people's minds into Pokemon. He says, I'm going to transfer everyone's minds into Pokemon, and then that way human beings can evolve to the next level. This is his real plan. And, he starts doing that because what happens is the Pokemon have to be in a frenzied state. So he creates the gas to induce the rage state, and then he can neural links into the Mew so that he can transfer everything. And basically, as this is happening, the Pikachu regains its memories because it turns out that Pikachu was in a frenzied state after the crash, and Mewtwo transferred Howard's mind into the Pikachu, and that's why it was a little scrambled. And so Pikachu managed to remember everything, how to do his attack. He uses Volt Tackle on Mewtwo, and it's enough to knock him back into the building where Howard Clifford is, and that allows Tim to, it's enough of a distraction for Tim to sever the neural link and free Mewtwo. Mewtwo then reverses everything he did, including transferring, he brings back Harry. God, you have Howard and you have Harry. It's sometimes you can just confuse those two. And like I said, basically what the relationship was between Tim and his father, Harry, is that Harry was a Rhyme City police detective, but Tim, God, I'm sorry, I really am. I don't know why I keep saying Howard. But Tim didn't really grow up with him. Tim's mother got sick and went to live with her mother and brought Tim along. And because Harry was never around, that caused an estrangement and they grew apart. But Harry was always trying to reconnect with Tim. He followed that Tim wanted to be a Pokemon trainer, but Tim eventually gave up on that and tried to enter the insurance appraisal business. But as the film goes on, you see as as Tim and the Pikachu bond, it's Tim bonding with his father, basically. And, at the end of the film, Tim elects to stay and enter the detective business with his father. So, yeah, like I said, overall, really, there were good parts. I did like Ryan Reynolds as the Pikachu. I did actually like Ryan Reynolds, too, in his human form. I did like Ken Watanabe as the police lieutenant who was Harry's superior. But the villain's plan gets a little wonky towards the end. It just, what? Transfer, I began to sense, I wonder if he's trying to do some sort of merger thing, because you learn right off the bat, he has the degenerative condition, but then they set the son up to actually be the one doing all of this. It's nah, I think there might be more to it than this. And it's like I said, the villain's plan is just a little nutsoid. I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. It just seemed a little too crazy for this film. But, I guess you had to explain why the Pikachu could talk and everything, so I guess they needed that to explain everything. And unfortunately, yeah, some of the jokes did fall a little flat for me. There were some jokes that worked, and there's one where the dejected Pikachu is walking around. He's actually singing the Pokemon theme song, the Pokemon, it's you and me. So, that part worked those things worked really well. When they were referencing Pokemon, it worked. But they try to have this shoehorned relationship between Tim and Lucy. It doesn't really go anywhere. And like I said, some of the jokes fall flat, and the villain's plan, it just was a little insane for my taste. But, like I said, a kid's probably going to really enjoy this film, and some adults, especially if you're immersed in the Pokemon world, you're probably going to like this too. That's why I gave it a B.
Nobody knows every Pokemon.
Master knows!
Who weighs more, Metapod or Pidgeotto? Pidgeotto by 44 pounds. Bulbasaur's height? 2 feet 4 inches. How does he do it?
Electronic Pokedex for Master Trainers from Aber to Zubat. Master them all.
Weedle's number? 13.
150 Pokemon with all the best fighting moves. Electronic Pokedex for Master Trainers. New from Tiger.
Okay, one last thing before we go into the trailers, because there's not that much to talk about in trailers. In case you're wondering where I got this Pokeball that I used for my thumbnail picture. Basically, when Pokemon, the movie 2000 came out, KWMK, that's the WB, now CW affiliate here in Bismarck, did a free screening. And you basically, all you had to do was request tickets for it, and you got them. And I still actually have a few leftover tickets somewhere around here. But, yeah, they also gave out these away, too. And it came with a gold-plated Pokemon card. Mine's a Poliwhirl. I have no idea if anyone else got a Poliwhirl or whatever. I also have, one of the infamous recalled Burger King toys that came in a Pokeball, and they had to recall it because the Pokeball was a suffocation hazard for children under the age of 3. Even though you're not supposed to be giving those toys to children under the age of 3, but that case, I had ordered a Big King meal, but I had a cold at the time, so I thought I had ordered a Big Kids meal. So yeah, I wound up getting a little wind-up Tauros. I could not find that toy anywhere, but so yeah, that's where I got that. Anyway, trailer time, and like I said, there's not too much here. We got mostly retreads. We did get a couple of new ones, and one of them's a doozy, but First off, we had My Spy Again. That's the Dave Bautista. I talked about that last week. And then our first new trailer, which is Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. I think the internet has spoken enough about that in the last week, so much so that they're actually going back to redesign Sonic, even though they just released the trailer. Boy, that looks bad. Like, yeah, that looks like a doozy, I'll just say that. Then we had A Dog's Journey. Again, that's the Dog's Purpose sequel. That comes out next week, so thankfully you won't be getting that trailer anymore. We had Angry Birds 2 again. Then we had Godzilla King of the Monsters again. And then our last one is our other new trailer, The Sun is Also a Star. That's I almost said a romantic comedy, but it's really not a comedy. It's a romance movie about a woman who falls in love with a guy just before she's about to get deported. And yeah, that's basically how that worked. Looked okay. Like that and The Dog's Journey comes out next week, but that's not the movie I'm going to be reviewing next week. That's going to be John Wick 3 Parabellum, or Parabellum, whatever you want to say that's pronounced. And then after that, it's going to be the random trade review on the Avengers Defenders War, and then the Money in the Bank 2015. Gee. It's 2019. I don't think you want me to review Money in the Bank 2015. I've already done that. Money in the Bank 2019 recap and review. See you all next time. Hey guys, check out my Patreon and see how you can request a movie for me to review, even if it's some stinker like A Dog's Way Home or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Also, if you like what you see, give the video a like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell.